So the Pokemon Presents earlier today brought a lot of new information, including that Gen 9 is happening. So, of course, we had to sit down and give our thoughts on this exciting news. I am your host, Tris, I am joined by TJ, and we are going to discuss this Pokemon Presents. So first off, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, Generation 9 of Pokemon is here. And it looks good. Like, the initial reveal of Sword and Shield was good, had people divided, but was good. This is very clearly building off of what they established with Legends, was clearly made alongside Legends, and is pushing it even further.
It looks really interesting, and I should probably wait for the starters, because that would be its own huge thing, but oh my god. I think like the area architecture is also really cool too, so I'm interested to see like what the other towns and stuff are going to look like.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people say it seems like it's based on Spain, specifically Barcelona, which is really interesting, actually. So I'm sure there's a lot of really interesting architecture and designs they can come up with from all of that. And yeah, this world looks really, really nice. And it's open world. Like, that's huge. Legends is kind of open world, but they made a point on like the website and the description of the trailer, like, this is open world. It's a seamless transition to everything. And that's really exciting, because that's taking what you started in Sword and Shield, what you then brought into Legends and did even more with, and now you're taking that even further. And I'm really curious, just from seeing this world and the Pokemon really roaming around, how much like Legends is this gonna play? Like, are you gonna be able to run around and just toss your Pokeballs at Pokemon, or is it gonna be more like the wild area of Sword and Shield all the time? Because those are two very different takes on kind of open world Pokemon. Like,
yeah, they're very, very different. A part of me hopes it's kind of like Legends. Because it's nice to just like be able to go from point A to point B without like 50 interruptions in the meantime, but it also feels kind of awkward to level in Legends as a result of it. So like once your Pokemon are hitting the higher ends of your levels, you just kind of go through the motions. It doesn't feel like there's all too many ways to get experience, where battles in the more traditional sense would kind of fix that, as well as like the Dynamax battles also helped a lot. But I'm sure they'll announce whatever other big things later.
well, you say big things, but I don't think things will get as literally large as the Dynamaxing. And I don't know if that'll be back this time around, but Pokemon tends to be very one and done with a lot of their ideas in recent generations. I mean, Mega Evolution didn't last very long. Z-moves didn't last very long. Dynamaxing probably won't last very long either. These are a bunch of region-exclusive things. But since we were touching upon connections to Legends, do you think this world will be as dangerous? Like, will Pokemon be able to attack the trainer as well? Because this is not the distant past anymore. This is modern era Pokemon, where the average human child has a much better understanding of Pokemon than anyone. So I don't know if they'll take the Legends approach where the trainer can get hit too. I feel like that kind of stuff might just start battles maybe, and then, oh no, that Pokemon gets a first strike kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see that. I do think I would prefer that, because it definitely does feel, I mean, you're like you said, it's modern, so you getting hit by Pokemon isn't really too much of a thing in the modern generations.
Unless you're Ash in the anime.
True. So many Thunderbolts. But I do hope they still like embrace some of that like scarcity or that dangerousness with like the alpha Pokemon at least.
Yeah.
Because it kind of makes it does make you want to, I guess, either steer clear or charge headfirst into the dangers ahead. It kind of adds that extra layer to the early game that feels really fun.
It's definitely a big question of, is this going to, I mean, since this is the next big generation of Pokemon, is it going to feel more like the previous mainline games, or is it going to take a lot from the most recent spin-off of Legends? Well, spin-off in quotes. You know, is it going to feel more like that in gameplay? Is it going to feel more like the mainline games? Because I feel like they won't want to, I mean, initially, when talking about the idea of Gen 9, everyone was talking about how Legends will probably stay in Legends, and they'll probably make it feel more traditional for National Gen 9. But everything we see here looks like a real hybrid of the two. We haven't seen much, but I'm definitely wondering how they're going to handle that, like the threat posed to the player themselves. But let's talk about what everyone is very excited over with every starter for Pokemon Gen, the starters. So we already did a little video on this, but we've got Sprigatito, the Grass Cat Pokemon, Fuecoco, the Fire Croc Pokemon, and Quaxly, the Duckling Pokemon. Now, in case it wasn't obvious that this region is based on Spain from everything we talked about already, Fuecoco is literally a mix of Fuego, Spanish for fire, and Coco, Spanish for croc.
It is a bit on the nose, honestly. They're not hiding anything this time around, or at least not with this one.
No. But I love that despite being a fire croc, because I'm already talking about this one, I love that it looks like an apple slice. Like, you see it in its face, it's got the little antenna like thing up top, the stem of the apple. It's so cute. I love this one. And I really like all three of these designs, but I can already tell Fuecoco's the one I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I feel you. I was definitely thinking about it when I was looking at the two. To me, it was definitely a coin toss between that one and Quaxly, but every time I keep double taking at Donald Duck over here, it's like, but I mean, I kind of want to, like, but that duck though.
Will it depend on what the other evolutions for it end up being?
It honestly might. They look really fun. I usually try not to look at the final forms, but if they show them early enough, I might just cave and see, because honestly, they're really cool, and it's kind of a tough decision.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice feeling that it's a tough decision, honestly. Like, it's really fun getting in that feeling again. And I do want to mention, because we haven't talked about them at all, Sprigatito is also really cute. That is literally just a grass cat by name and everything. It's kind of like in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's like a grass mix of Fennekin and Litten in terms of like its visual design. But
yeah, I was kind of thinking that.
But I really love it, and I love the leaf pattern on its face too. Like, it's really cute, and I honestly can't wait to see what these evolve into and what kind of Pokemon these end up being. I really hope Fuecoco keeps the apple theme to its design, though, through all of it. I will be disappointed if it loses that, but...
Give me a bunch of bowl of fruits, Pokemon.
Exactly. Oh, that'd be so good. No, I really do like the designs here, and what's really interesting, too, is... back when Sword and Shield were announced, I remember so many people drifted specifically to Score Bunny, and... at the same time, talked about how Score Bunny looked so off compared to the other two. Like, Grookey and Sabo, people were like, yeah, those are clearly Pokemon. But everyone was saying Score Bunny didn't really look like a fire type, and also looked like a fake Emon, like a fake Pokemon design, or a fan design. It was jarring to them. I'm not seeing any of that this time. I'm seeing a lot of people like really on board for all three of these, and having a lot of fun trying to pick between them. Outside of, wow, Quaxly looks like one of the DuckTales characters.
Every time I can't stop seeing Dewey. I really can't.
I can't wait for when people make an edit of Quaxly to look like a Mario Bro, because the hat look to it.
No, it's true.
But these look really fun. To go a little bit more beyond the starters, though. So we saw a little bit of the world of the main characters, and I have the website up currently too, just to get details to talk about here. And one thing that's already kind of interesting that I don't recall any other Pokemon game doing, your player character, their initial design actually changes depending on which version you're playing. So if you're playing Pokemon Scarlet, they wear mostly reds. But if you're playing Violet, they wear mostly purples. And it's a small detail, all things considered, especially if there's going to be customization. But I kind of like that. I like that idea that they're already doing that. And I think when Pokemon actually pushes more differences between the two versions, it encourages people to actually get the two instead of simply just pair up with a friend that got the other one and trade between them for the Pokemon. Like Black and White. Black and White had a whole town that changed depending on the version you played. And that's a really interesting concept, and I really like that idea. And if we see more of that here, I'm really curious how it'll play out. Something I noticed when it came to these trainer characters, and I specifically noticed it when looking around the trailer, the art style doesn't look like Sword and Shields. It really doesn't. It kind of looks like a mix of Legends for the world, but the characters themselves look like Let's Go, I noticed. Like, specifically in the face. I don't know why specifically I'm thinking that, but they don't look the same. They don't quite look like they did in Sword and Shield. They look a lot more like the player characters from Let's Go, at least to me, which makes me wonder if they're also working with anything from that at all.
That would be interesting. It could definitely go to push more the Legend style of just catching up everything you see.
That's true.
And then I think, because I did forget to say it earlier, I do also kind of hope they lean into that. Because it'd be nice to see them rework the IV system to just kind of work flat out like the grit.
Oh, yeah, with the grit
stuff, the sand, gravel, whatever. I think it'd be really nice to see them do that. Not that I don't like breeding Pokemon. It's very tedious. But at the same time, it's really nice to just be able to take an easier path, kind of like play the game to train the Pokemon, not spin around in a circle or run up and down in a long straight line for like an hour to hatch 5 eggs and then do it again because they all didn't have the IVs you wanted. I think it would also help a lot to get more people into the competitive scene because it's very easy to get Pokemon to like equal status as everyone else if you can just do that. There's no extra learn to have this stone, learn to have the destiny knot, the exact breeding methods, and all the extra complication. It's just enjoy playing the game and come back later when you've gotten everything to 10 or how you want it at the minimum and have fun. Give it a go. Give it a try. It definitely cuts down on the complication.
Yeah, it definitely does cut down on the complication, and you're right, it would get more people into the competitive scene and such, especially since whenever there's a new Pokemon gen, that always becomes the new face of competitive Pokemon. So to make that accessible in this new game, by using the systems they introduced in Legends, that would be fantastic, actually. Like, that is a great way to handle that, and I hope they do that. I hope they keep the actual, like, Pokemon breeding, but I do hope this system to affect the effort levels? I think it is effort values.
It was I think individual.
Okay, yeah.
Effort wasn't so bad because they were berries you could use to lower it, and then that was just kind of affected by what Pokemon you fought. But it was still another thing you had to learn how to do. It really kind of put like a high entrance fee of things you just had to learn to do.
But yeah, that's exactly my point, though. Like, you're literally proving the point of, like, there's a lot of complexity to it. But using some of the systems they introduced in Legends would make it far more accessible to many more people. So I'm definitely right there with you. I guess as my final thought that I just kind of have written down here that I want to touch upon, the art style in general. Because I know I talked about, like, a little bit of a mix between, like, Sword and Shield and Let's Go and Legends. But the art style itself actually looks really, really good. I noticed, as I have the trailer looping here, you see a lot of detail on these player characters and like the texture on their clothes and all that. Like, this is probably going to be the highest quality Pokemon game, and I'm very excited about that. I hope I hope the final product looks really, really good. I hope there's nothing that we come across and we're like, Pokemon, you rushed this again in this one part, because we know the community is already going to do that to some degree. But I hope it doesn't feel that divisive, because what I'm seeing so far, this art style looks really, really nice, and this, like, the world looks really nice.
It does look really pretty. I like even the screenshots of the sand area. Like, you can see like bits of ruined rubble and stuff, and it's just like I can't even make out what half of that is, but it looks cool, and I want to like see what more about it. Maybe it's like actual ruins of some long forgotten civilization or something. Even it could tie into more of the background plot.
Yeah, an area we'll see in a future Legends game. No, the screenshot with the Stonejourners, I really love that. I'm happy Stonejourner is back. We'll probably, separate from the analysis, or maybe part of the analysis, I'm not sure yet, we'll probably have a video going over all Pokemon we know that are in the gen so far, because who knows if all Pokemon will be back this time around or not. I'm sure they won't be quick to say so.
I can't imagine. They really don't ever. Like, they've done it a few times, but it's one of those, they don't do it often, and I hope not for like, oh, I don't want to see them, but like I really enjoy like the early stages in the Pokemon games when the dex is lower, because it takes out this is a, I guess, a more like competitive Pokemon gripe, but you don't have to go online to deal with like 50 Garchomps that are just gonna giga dominate the competition or any of that. It really, the metas shift massively depending on what the dex looks like. So I think it's always really interesting when the entire dex isn't there, because you have a lot of variation in what's actually there, what's present, what can be used, and what combinations can be a lot better for like doubles and stuff.
Right. I mean, I'm not trying to bring up that whole debate. I just know it's inevitable. We'll hit that debate at some point. I definitely think, regardless of what they do, as long as they have a good variety of new Pokemon, I will be happy and excited. I will end my whole thing of thoughts with a question to you. Do you think we'll get new regional forms for this area too? Is that going to be something they keep doing, or will we not see any regional forms this time?
I feel like it's something they've been so consistently doing compared to everything else. Because like with all the other like big features, like for example like Mega Evolution, like they did it the first time, then they did the follow-up game, the Ruby and Sapphire, with it, and it was a main focus point. But then when they moved to Alola, they like, you could tell it was there because they felt like they had to put it there, but it was just kind of like a, here, go do it in your own time kind of thing. And then they just took it flat out. And then with the Z moves, I feel like you're kind of seeing that again, where they're just kind of like, it was there, they're like, okay, it's here because we made it, and now it's gone. But like with the forms, it seems like it's something they've like really been embracing. It doesn't feel like in any one game specifically they're like, oh, we're just gonna dial it back until it fades away. They're, even with like Arceus, with all the different forms we got, they're slamming it. It's nice because it feels like it adds an extra like creative layer to what's already there without forcing them to have to come up with like 50 straight new things. Not that they also don't, but it adds so much more to look forward to, even if it's just seeing like your favorite Pokemon. Like, give me a, do we know the name of the region yet?
I don't believe we know the name of the region, no.
Okay, give us like this region, like Dunsparce or something, and then maybe its typing actually makes it do something more than look cute on the side.
That would be great, honestly. What I love about regional forms is that it really does shine a nice new spotlight on some older, forgotten Pokemon, or Pokemon that maybe need some more attention, and that's always really exciting, honestly. The new regional forms are something I've been looking forward to, like each new Pokemon game the last while. So I really hope we get more of that here. All right. Well, any final thoughts before we wrap up this discussion?
Unfortunately, nothing comes to mind. My head is still just like, oh man, look at that's Donald Duck over there.
Of course, right?
I still can't get past that. It's just like it's over there. It's right over there. Somebody edit this onto Dewey and DuckTales intro and just copy paste print. We're done. Got him.
Perfect. So, I guess as a last thing for final thoughts, how would you rate this Pokemon Presents? Because for me, honestly, first half, if you want to call it that. Everything before Gen 9, it was like, it was okay. Maybe like 7 out of 10. Like it was neat. Nothing really excited me. But then Gen 9, I'm like, okay, we're up to 9. Gen 9, hype level 9. There we go.
Yeah, I definitely feel a lot of that. To me, it's like I for the earlier first part, I think I'd honestly put it like a little lower, maybe like a 5.5 or 6, because a lot of the things they showed, I'm pretty sure they've already also shown most everything, if not like shy one or two things. So it was kind of just like recapping to for everybody who missed it. Here's the things, you can see it.
Yeah.
But and then the Brilliant Diamond one, it's like, oh cool, it's nice that they're not just like games out, drop mic, we're done. But it also doesn't feel like they're doing much more than just kind of like what it already had. It's cool to see that more for Arceus is on the table, so I was really happy to see that. It's not impossible to see more, but just kind of like another free little slide in, here's some more, and if you stop playing it, we'll go back, finish your decks, we're not done yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I definitely agree, like seeing the new gen, it's like that like, okay cool, went to like, whoa, wait a minute, get ready. I know it was like, I was skeptic, or I know we said in our last discussion like they might not be ready given the like 3 years they always tend to kind of do, but like it looks really good, and it looks like Legends kind of paved the path. It made mistakes for this one to sort of learn from, and like strive. So I like, it looks so good, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I also can't wait. This is gonna be probably one of the even bigger, more exciting titles this year, in an already packed year, as we went over from the Nintendo Direct like a couple weeks ago. Like
my wallet, no.
Your wallet's gonna be crying even more when they start making the plushies of these Pokemon too, TJ.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap up this discussion. But what did all of you think of the Pokemon Presents? And also, which starter are you guys going for? Let us know your thoughts down below, and be sure to subscribe to Game Explained for plenty more on Pokemon, honestly, because we're gonna have an analysis of this and probably several other videos on this at the very least. But otherwise, you can check out the videos on the right for more content you might be interested in. Until next time, farewell everyone.